I'm Bonnie Rabikoff. Welcome to In the Kitchen. With me this week in the kitchen is Cafe Trio and its restaurateur, Chris Younger. Chris, thank you for inviting us in your kitchen.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Happy to have you here.
So Cafe Trio, three amigos?
Three amigos, three owners. There's myself, Chris Youngers, Al Ritchie, and my partner, Ty Wynn.
And so what kind of dining? How would you describe the food here?
We're casual fine dining. We originally branded it Come As You Are Fine Dining. It's eclectic American.
So eclectic American.
A little bit of comfort food mixed in with some more sophisticated fare. So.
Well, I noticed that you also have artwork up on the walls. Is a part of the experience here at Cafe Trio?
Part of the experience is artwork. We rotate local artists every 6 to 8 weeks. We also showcase local music, and we have great wine and great food. So it's really a combination.
All your senses are enjoying.
All your senses.
So some of the musicians that we'll hear here.
Our long-standing diva, we call her, is Alice Jenkins. She's here every Friday and Saturday night. Tim Whitmer, which a lot of folks in Kansas City know, he's here on Thursdays. And we've got a couple pianists that are here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays so far. And those rotate in and out. In the summer months, we'll add a musician or two on the patio as well.
So correct, we have inside dining, outside dining. The view is terrific. It's the Kansas City Plaza.
Of the Country Club Plaza, the park. It overlooks, unlike a lot of outdoor dining, you're kind of stuck on a side of a street or on a sidewalk with a lot of commotion. Here we kind of sit up, it's a little surreal, it's quiet, you're a little removed from it all, yet you have a great view of the Country Club Plaza.
So truly a restaurant for all of your senses.
We certainly think so.
What we'd like to do now is talk to your chef, learn a little about his personal journey to this profession, his inspiration for carrying out your vision here. So let's go talk to Chef.
You got it. I think you'll find a great interview.
Okay. Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we're in the kitchen with executive chef Leon Bowman at Cafe Trio. Chef, thank you for inviting us into your kitchen.
Thank you.
How did you get here? How did you become chef?
Well, actually Cafe Trio is it's my first experience chefing a large operation. And I've been with Chris and Ty for going on 5 years now in December. I was their sous chef for about 3, and I've had the head spot for about 2 years.
Any special training to get here, or has this been on-the-job experience?
A little of both. Started cooking when I was 16. I won't tell you how many years ago that was, but quite a while. And so been at it for quite a while. I did decide in 1998 to take advantage of an opportunity I had to go to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and graduated in 2000.
So that's a serious training as Culinary Institute of America. What was that experience like?
It was really something. It's basically a 2-year full immersion program. 50 hours a week, basically, just like a full-time job. Pretty much live on campus. It's very exciting.
Was there a particular experience while you were at the school that was like a standout for you?
I did have the opportunity to work with for some very, very good chefs there. There was one in particular, a fellow named Corky Clark. He was kind of an old school Navy guy, and he was in the fish kitchen and showed us all kinds of butchering, different fish products. Interesting experience with Corky. He would actually chew tobacco in the kitchen. I was like, okay, probably won't get away with that when I have my own place, but.
I don't think Chris would be up for chewing tobacco in the kitchen. What is your ongoing inspiration for the work you're doing here? What is it you're wanting to create here at Cafe Trio? What do you want your customers, your guests to enjoy?
Well, we aim for perfection. You know, it all starts with from the beginning with the products that come in the door. It also has a lot to do with the people that work here, and I'm lucky to have a very talented staff back there in the kitchen. Front of the house staff is wonderful too.
So let's talk about from the time the food comes into the restaurant. I know in an earlier conversation you said that it was very important to you that the products be of a certain quality. Over time you seem to have developed a relationship with some of the growers. Let's talk about that relationship and how that works for you.
Yeah, we are lucky here, especially in this region, to have. You don't have to go very far outside the city to hit farmland, and we have developed relationships with several local farmers to bring in everything from produce, such as specialty mushrooms. We use quite a bit of specialty oyster mushrooms from a farmer about an hour and a half east of here. All the eggs we use in-house are farm-raised, organic,
Free range.
Right.
Right.
Which makes quite a bit of difference.
It's a huge difference. You can taste the difference.
You can. It's a little more expensive. Well, quite a bit more, twice as expensive as a normal egg you might pay for. But I think it's worth it. Goat cheese we also utilize from that same farmer. The concept we've established here, Chris Youngers refers to it as casual fine dining, which is very apropos, I think. We do the best we can to make sure the guest has a great dining experience here. The owners have done a great job with the decor, so when it all comes together pretty well, and we're pretty happy with what we've got here, and very lucky.
Well, Chef, I think you and I should go into the kitchen and prepare those monkfish medallions. Are you ready to teach me?
I'm ready to show you some monkfish, yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabakoff, and we're in the kitchen with Executive Chef Leon Ballman here at Cafe Trio. We're going to make monkfish medallions with a risotto of spring vegetables. Chef, where do we begin?
Well, we'll begin with the product itself, the monkfish fillets.
There's a few things that you're going to need to do to get it ready to be medallions.
Exactly, and this is a fairly time-consuming process, but I'll show you the general idea. Quite a bit of membrane on the fillets when they come to you.
Now, is this something your fishmonger can do for you, or you generally need to be doing this?
Well, they generally they'll come in with the not necessarily the skin on, but this membranous
materials on there. Okay,
right.
And so we're going to take that off. So it looks like the loin of pork tenderloin.
Basically,
it's the same portion.
I won't clean the whole fillet, but I will show you what it looks like when it is finished and cut into medallions.
This is what I'm used to seeing.
This would be a lot easier to get it in like this. So that's going to be the finished product before it goes into the pan.
All right, so we've gotten our medallions ready for cooking. What is the next thing that we're going to do to get ready for this dish?
What we'll do is we'll season the monkfish fillets and flour them.
Is this regular all-purpose flour or?
Yes,
Yes?
And so we'll take our fillets.
And I noticed we have about 7 pieces. Now, how many people is this going to feed?
This is for 2 entree portions. I decided to go with 3 pieces on each.
Okay.
And 1 extra just for a little tasting.
Make sure it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Cracked.
Fresh cracked ground pepper, which I know you do up earlier, but you do want that fresh cracked pepper.
Fresh is best,
Fresh
yes.
is best. And what kind of salt is that? Kosher or?
Yeah, kosher salt generally works better than table salt because of the grain size. You could also, if you happen to have sea salt at home, that would be it. That would be a good way to go.
Okay, so you've seasoned it, and
now we're gonna dredge it.
And you just seasoned it on one side, because that's enough, right?
Right,
Okay.
and the dish itself also is going to be seasoned, so you don't,
Do it in layers.
right, don't want to over season.
So back and forth just to take off the excess flour.
Right.
If you didn't choose monkfish, what other fish would you suggest for this dish?
For this dish, maybe a sea bass would be nice.
So you're looking for white and fleshy.
Right,
and-
or a snapper, a red snapper.
Okay. So what do we need to do to start the risotto?
Well, we had talked earlier about here at the restaurant for quick fire time. We actually par cook our risotto, which the home cook can also do. Typical traditional risotto, you'll start with diced white or yellow onion, and you'll saute that off in some butter or olive oil, and then you'll add in your arborio rice and toast that off to kind of get a little toastiness to it.
I've been doing that with rice recently, any kind of rice, and it really adds that extra nuttiness to the dish.
Exactly.
So we don't think of toasting rice, but a good plan, toast it off before you add the liquids.
Right.
And so once it gets a certain cut, you can sort of smell it a little bit, then you add the stock. And
Right, and we start with the wine, and after the
Wine
rice
first.
has been toasted, and then kind of reduce that down until it's pretty much gone. The wine has been absorbed into the arborio rice.
And
Then the
add-
stock goes in.
Okay.
And usually you'll add the stock in batches. You don't want to add it all in at once. And it involves quite a bit of stirring. So it's a little
You
bit of a
need to
time
pay
consuming.
attention. So getting it ready for what we're going to do now involves adding the stock slowly and then continue to add it as it looks like it needs more liquid. And I
Right.
know some of this is just look.
Kind of by feel, yeah.
Goes by look and feel. Okay,
Exactly.
so the rice we're going to be looking at now has already been through this process.
It's been par cooked, yes.
Par cooked. And so once we're there, maybe we should go over to the little mise en place cart you have prepared, and let's take a look at what is here. And you don't need a cart in your kitchen, but preparing all the ingredients prior to cooking, it saves angst, I can tell,
Yes,
I can tell you
exactly.
that. So we've got leeks and sliced,
Sliced garlic.
yes. And I noticed these are very thin. These are the pencil thin.
Right, those are the smaller asparagus, which
Tight heads.
looks nicer for,
Yep.
for a delicate dish
This
like
dish.
this.
Regular peas
Yes.
and butter, and these are chopped.
That's a mix of chopped fresh herbs, oregano, thyme.
Sure smell that. Oh, it's heaven. Butter, and what do we have here, chef?
That is basically a heavy cream reduction that's been infused with saffron.
So what you've done is you put the cream on the stove and then let it reduce down.
Right, reduced down to about half its original volume.
And during that process, you've added some saffron.
Just a few threads to steep in
That
the
stuff's
cream.
expensive.
It is very expensive, yes.
Okay, and then the rice is ready to go as you've described it. It's gotten ready.
Right.
And then you brought a magic box. What's in the magic box?
This is the saffron.
Oh, this is yes. It came in a Brinks truck, you all. But oh, isn't that beautiful? So a little goes a long way.
Yes, absolutely.
Was it just a pinch or so for this?
Right, it really only takes, 10, 12 strands.
Okay.
And that's for this amount, probably only about 3 or 4 strands.
3 or 4 strands. So
And
not.
it's also a good idea, Bonnie, to kind of toast off the saffron a little bit before you add it to the cream.
Again, brighten up the flavor.
Break it up a little, and that kind of helps infuse better.
Did you toast that in a dry pan?
Right, just basically a dry saute pan.
Okay, so chef, we've got it all together. All the ingredients have been prepared and they're ready to go. So if you were having company, you would be at this point at which you would begin cooking it off just before they arrive. So your risotto's ready, our fish has been, the word is butchered.
Fabricated.
Fabricated, I had no
Yes.
idea. I've been
That's the
fabricating
word.
fish, but we fabricated it, we put it in some flour and a little bit of seasoning, and we're ready to go to the stove.
Yes, I think we'll start making
I'll follow
the
you.
risotto.
Okay, Chef, I'm
All right.
following you. So we have everything in its place and ready to go. We're gonna cook it off. Chef, what are we gonna do first?
Okay, we're gonna start with some high heat on the saute pan. This is an olive oil blend as opposed to extra virgin. Just use a little of that, let that heat up. And I do like to add just a little extra virgin in also. Then we'll start with a handful of leeks. Now we're doing two entree portions, so not a lot of garlic, but enough.
Yeah, we wanna make sure we're awake.
All right.
All right, now for those of us who cannot do that, you just take, no, this is gonna be for the risotto. Can I put this in here or not?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
for those of us who don't throw pans up, you know, the contents don't always end up back in the
That's
pan
very true, yes.
for the home cook. So we've lowered the heat once that starts getting softer. And then what's the next thing that we're going to?
The next thing that we'll be adding in it is the par-cooked risotto, which, as we said, already has the sauteed onions, wine, and stock in it. And it's cooked pretty al dente, and it will be finished in this pan.
So in some ways, it makes more sense to start the risotto ahead of time anyway, and get the chance for it to truly absorb all those flavors.
Yeah, it will make it a lot easier on you in the kitchen preparing this dish.
Oh, it's already getting fragrant.
So now we're going to just kind of toast off that rice a little bit. I'm going to deglaze this pan with a little bit of white wine. Today we're using Chablis.
I believe we're going to be pairing some white wine with this dish later, so it all works. Oh, that's wonderful.
Another wine that works really well in risotto is champagne.
Really?
Sometimes we'll do a special with the champagne risotto. Not necessarily with the saffron.
So you wouldn't mix those two. If you were going to do champagne,
I would probably do one or the other.
One or the
yeah.
other. And you can see the creamy texture beginning to happen here.
Exactly. The starches in the rice are starting to break down. At this point, we'll go ahead and add our saffron cream with just a reduced cream.
And that sounds much more complicated than what it is, but it's actually heavy cream that you let simmer to half its original amount.
Exactly.
And then towards the end, you added a pinch
Of the saffron.
Of the saffron. And so with risotto, you're constantly adding the liquid to it. And at this stage, our liquid then was a little bit of wine and now the reduced cream.
Right, in the original preparation for the risotto, yeah, it will absorb all that liquid. When it's at this point, it won't absorb much more. So
Okay.
we're gonna just put that on
It's just
low.
getting creamier and creamier. All right, so it's on low, and now we begin the fish. Oh, yes. We add our
I like to add the asparagus a little later. Sometimes with risotto, when you're finishing it, a little bit of water to thin it down.
And what,
Because it is so absorbent.
right, and you're looking at this and you're making decisions all along about how much moisture it needs. And, you know, chefs tell me sometimes it depends upon how much moisture is in the air that day.
That's true.
And so to give specific amounts becomes challenging because you as the home cook, you've just got to use your senses when you're
Right,
cooking.
and yeah, don't be afraid of risotto. It's a little tricky and time consuming, but
It's worth it.
Once you've done it once or twice, you'll have it down.
Yep.
So we'll just leave this on a slow simmer.
All right, and
Cook those asparagus.
That's
tips.
about the consistency we're looking for to leave it on the slow simmer to get to the fish.
Right.
Okay.
Now we'll get this pan hot because we want to get a nice sear on the medallions. Get that pan nice and hot before we add the oil.
And is that something true for most cooking, is get your pan hot before you add the oil?
Right. Now, if you
oil?
are sauteing and your pan gets to the point where it's smoking, that's a little too hot.
It's too hot, so we
Right.
don't want to get to the smoking place.
You want to get just kind of where the oil just starts to shimmer a little
Shimmer.
bit, and we'll see that in a second.
So you're adjusting the heat to get to that shimmer place, and we're there.
Yep. See how that's just starting to shimmer a little bit?
I do, but not smoke. Okay.
Now we'll knock
So-
any extra.
People think it makes it crispier, but the truth is, if you've got too much flour, all it does is make it gummy.
Exactly.
So we're looking for a dusting because you want the surface to feel dry,
Right.
and that's what's going to give us our crispiness.
Turn this
That
down a
at
little
the
bit.
top, and we want to hear it sizzle when it gets there.
Now, monkfish is a pretty dense fleshed fish. So you want your heat, you want to get that nice sear and then turn that heat down a little bit so the outside doesn't overcook. Naturally with these, once we get the sear on the fish, then then we'll finish them in the oven. You should just maybe have your kitchen oven on at about 350.
So the oven's on at 350, and when that's ready to turn over, then it goes in the oven.
Right.
Right.
Spoon is here. You want to give that a
I
sizzle?
do. So this has a consistency of almost a cooked cereal, and we want to maintain that consistency. If it starts looking too dry, what would you add to the risotto? And it's not, but what would you add to the risotto if it were getting too dry at this point?
You know, at this point, stock would be a good thing to add to it.
And that should not be cold.
That's very true. Yes, you want your stock to be warm or hot even in the initial stages.
So that's why you see when people are making risotto, they have a pan with stock and a ladle, and they're slowly adding that stock to it.
And constantly stirring.
You're looking for a little more color on the
A
bottom.
little more color on the bottom, because then we'll go ahead and turn these over and put them in the oven.
How long do you think it's going to take in the oven once they've seared on both sides?
With pieces this thick, probably about 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay. So be checking on it, and then how will we know it's done when it's ready to come out of the oven? What are we going to be looking for?
Basically, you're going to be checking the texture.
So when you touch it, it springs back or it
No,
resists you?
it will be actually less springy than at this point.
Okay, so that was a good visual. It just
Right.
sort of bounced back. We don't want that
Exactly.
when it comes out of the oven.
If you notice your oil evaporating, add a little more.
The important thing is the taste. And every chef has a little bowl or cup filled with spoons.
A little tasting spoon here. I'm basically checking the texture of the rice.
Not just the taste, the texture.
Right.
So what are you looking for?
We're still about to use our finishing ingredients, which will be peas.
Okay, handful of peas in here. Look how pretty. Of course, these are summer spring vegetables.
And then these are our chopped herbs, oregano,
What else is in
thyme.
it? Yes.
parsley.
And parsley. It's such an underrated herb, but it goes so far in providing flavor and
Absolutely.
freshness to a dish. So about 3 chopped herbs in there. Parsley,
Right.
oregano, thyme.
So
Are you
we're
one of those
almost
chefs?
finished with
We're
the
almost
risotto.
there. Are you one of those chefs that prefers flat leaf parsley to the curly parsley, or does it matter much to
Yeah,
you?
here we use Italian parsley.
Italian,
the flavor,
flat leaf
the flavor
parsley.
is, yeah, it's much better, I think.
I
than-
hear that
than
all
the
the
standard,
time.
yes.
So it must be true.
And I think we're gonna add a little more water,
Just a drop more
just
water
a touch.
in.
And to finish it,
Now you turn the heat up after you put the water in.
we're just gonna use some butter, a few cubes of butter.
You know, this
That gives it a
isn't.
nice
Yes,
finish.
it does, and you don't want to add it until the very end.
Right.
Right. This is amazing.
Basically, they call it Monte Beurre. Basically, it's a finish, butter finish used for a lot of different sauces and dishes. So, and we cannot forget our salt and pepper.
Now, did we use salt and pepper in the preparation of the rice? And
We did not.
We did not. So in this particular dish, we're not adding salt and pepper until the very end when we add the butter.
Right.
And there's
It is-
obviously it's the flavor. flavoring.
And it is important when you're making compound dishes with different ingredients, not to over-season the individual ingredients, because a little bit is good, but it's really easy to over-season by the time the dish is finished. So you want to be careful about adding salt and pepper, for example, to the starter risotto.
Okay.
Because
Knowing what we're going to be doing with this, we wouldn't do it.
Right, you can always adjust it at the end. And Bonnie, I'm going to let you.
I'm the official.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sure.
Let me know if it might need a little more salt, I'm thinking, but maybe not.
Oh, okay. I can just smell it. Of course, I'm
Go ahead
going to taste
and
it too.
that down.
That's pretty amazing. No, that salt at the end.
It is. The
That
salt's
did it.
there, yeah.
It's there. Oh, that's heaven. You've got to, you've got to take. You have to. That's just amazing. All right, so the risotto is cooked and it's on the oven, ready for us. The monkfish is just about ready to come out of the oven, and we're going to prepare the garnish. Chef?
Right, basically we're going to top this dish with a simple salad involving organic pea shoots, which we get from a local farmer.
Beautiful.
He grows those for us. This is Parmesan Reggiano
Oh, it sure
imported.
is.
And we're going to do a little shaved on top of the salad. We'll start with a little fresh lemon juice and extra virgin olive oil we have in our container here, for the basic vinaigrette.
All right, and so you're doing something we must remember to do, and that is prepare the lemon to be juicy. And you do that by simply?
That's right. If you roll it under your hands, that's going to break up the membranes inside and release more juice.
All right, so we're going to cut we're making essentially the vinaigrette very simple. Lemon juice.
Basically,
So a mixing bowl and a strainer.
right,
So
any
don't
kind of
get
strainer, just to keep the seeds out. So we are going to make our basic vinaigrette here with a little olive oil.
And this
extra virgin.
This is the time to use the extra virgin olive oil.
Right.
This is when you want the best tasting olive oil you
For the
can
finished-
use. For
for
the
the finished
Okay,
dishes.
what else are we going to put in this vinaigrette?
Bonnie, if you could shave some parm right off the inside of there with that, we'll get some nice flakes for the salad.
So this is going to sit on top. Okay. And I'm trying to get them off, and actually the colder the cheese, the better it works with your peeler. And this is just a
Right.
regular vegetable peeler.
Exactly.
Okay, so salt and pepper, pinches of each, and lemon juice.
extra virgin.
And then what do we do
we'll go
here?
ahead and toss in our pea shoots. Just kind
Best
of give a
kitchen
nice little
tools.
coating.
Your hands, they are the best kitchen tools
Exactly.
you've got.
Yeah. So and that's basically all there is to that garnish.
That was simple enough. Salt, pepper, lemon juice, olive oil, and our
And-
shavings. And then we're ready to plate.
We are.
Okay,
yes.
chef.
Go ahead and take this, Bonnie, and then I'll let you grab that monkfish. That handle's not hot, so you should be fine. So basically,
So we're plating up right now, chef. You're putting the risotto down first.
right, the risotto will go down. We got some nice triangle plates here to kind of accent the three
And I
pieces of
notice how many
monkfish.
chefs use white plates because it's really the canvas for your work. And we take just a little bit extra care in plating because you eat with your eyes first.
That's why we chose these plates. Our monkfish is ready to go right on top.
Oh, it smells
We're gonna make a little kind of tower here in the middle.
So you've got color, you've got texture, you've got height.
Now
This
we
has
are
been in the oven for 350 for 7-8 minutes.
right, probably closer to 10 minutes. I would
10
recommend. We're gonna garnish this plate with basically a spinach puree,
Okay.
which we just sauteed some onions, spinach, and garlic, and then pureed it in a blender and let it cool.
And I call these ketchup bottles, but you can use a wide variety of garnishes. If you wanted to buy something off the shelf for this, what would you recommend to go with these flavors?
Well, to be honest, Bonnie,
A pesto?
a pesto.
Could you get by with pesto?
If you had most people do have pesto, and that would probably work just fine. I would probably not use too much of it because pesto is a pretty
Intense.
right.
And what is this beautiful?
That is our roasted tomato oil, which is very simple to make. You just basically take tomato paste, saute it, kind of brown it a little in a saute pan, add oil to it, and then just let it cook on medium heat for about 20 minutes.
And you get this oil.
Right.
Anyone, we can do this. Okay, now what else are we going, because I know we have our celebrity taster and she is hungry.
Yes, so we are going to go ahead and finish the garnish with our salad we made earlier.
And these are pea shoots, lemon juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper. We're talking about simple. Look at those colors together with the tomato oil and the beautiful green of the pea shoots. I mean, we've got art here before we even...
Pea shoots can be a little tricky. They're pretty large, so we're going to kind of tuck them in there nicely.
They're behaving
give a little bit of height.
Oh, how pretty is that? All right, and one more thing, and actually our cameraman was eating this earlier. I couldn't stop him, but...
Yeah, blame him. That's some good imported Parmesan Reggiano.
It was good.
And that'll be our finishing touch.
Again, make sure it's pretty cold when you take your vegetable peeler because it'll respond better.
Right, and we'll break it up a little bit, and I think we have our finished plates here.
Chef, we've got a hungry taster. Let's go.
We better get these upstairs.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Brabakoff, and we've just been in the kitchen with Executive Chef Leon Ballman at Cafe Trio. We prepared, or mostly chef, prepared monkfish medallions with a saffron risotto and spring vegetables. Chris, what should we drink with this exquisite dish?
Well, here's the thing. We always want to take the intimidation out of the wine. So if you always drink a Chardonnay or a Riesling or a Sauvignon Blanc, and you're scared to go anywhere else, it's by all means, those wines will be fine with our dish. But for those of you that want to step out just a little bit,
we're talking adventure here.
We're talking a little adventure, and we've picked two very affordable wines, so there's not much risk here.
Okay.
One is from Spain, and one is also from Portugal, but they're both in a very similar region. In fact, the one from Spain, an Albarino, is from the area that sits right atop Portugal. So they're both from a very similar climate, and so they're both grown in a very similar way. But we paired them both, and they're both great summer wines. They're light, they're crisp, an Albarino, and also the one that we're going to actually pair is called the Vino Verde, and it's Verde for green, meaning it's a very young grape, and it's very crisp. It's very light. It should be drank chilled is really about it. You can't go wrong. It's very inexpensive, and it makes for a great summer wine, and it'll make a great wine with the monkfish medallions.
Well, you know, I think that we should test this out, and to do that, Councilwoman Jan Markison is coming to be our celebrity taster, and we'll let her decide if your choice was good.
You bet.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Brabakoff, and we have been in the kitchen with Executive Chef Leon Ballman here at Cafe Trio, preparing a monkfish medallion with a risotto of spring vegetables. Now, just to make sure that this dish is as wonderful as it looked while we were preparing it, we have invited a celebrity taster, Jan Markison, who's the 4th District with Kansas City, Missouri City Council.
I'm on the City Council, yes.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy political schedule to come and taste with us. And Chef is coming in right now with the dish.
I live in the neighborhood, so this is my neighborhood restaurant. So
it's your neighborhood restaurant. Well, it's an amazing chef. Thank you so much.
Our monkfish medallions. Welcome to Cafe Trio.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy it.
It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jen, we're going to ask you to take a taste and sip the wine.
Gladly.
This is a difficult task.
Yes,
no doubt. And then tell us what you're tasting. Someone has to do it. And of course, I'm going to taste it with.
Okay, this is the monkfish medallion.
Monkfish medallion, and Chef made the risotto with spring vegetables. Is that amazing? He actually showed us the monkfish as it appears in the ocean, which was challenging.
It's very tasty, but light. You know, it's just a very it's a good thing for the summer weather.
I'll tell you, I would not have predicted this monkfish to be this light in taste.
It really
Especially
is.
after seeing it in the hole, you know. Okay, now
Maybe I'm glad I didn't see
I
that.
think so. It's just one of those secrets back in the kitchen.
Yes,
Tell me about the risotto.
Okay, I love risotto and I love spring vegetables, so. Oh,
Isn't that amazing?
that is delicious.
That is amazing.
The city council just passed an urban agriculture ordinance that will allow people to grow vegetables in their backyards and have them available, because we know the importance of having fresh vegetables, and dishes like this will be, really good for people to make with the
amazing.
vegetables they grow.
It is, and now you need to make sure that the wine works with what you're eating. This is a Verde.
Another
that
important
Chris
task.
Yes, it is.
Oh, very nice. Again, a good summertime light.
Very
wine.
crisp. Fresh.
Yes.
I can tell you need to make sure.
I always feel like when you taste the wine, kind of the aftertaste is what's important.
Well, 'cause it's still there.
Right, it's still there, and it's it always feels good and cool going down, but
Dude, that's
it's how it
very-
feels in your mouth
It's
afterwards. that
It's
really-
refreshing. Would you describe
It
it
is
as refreshing?
It is.
Well,
And
I
it
think
kind of gets you
need-
ready for the next bite.
for the next bite, because this is the risotto does have some cream and butter in it, and the wine was a wonderful mix with the richness of the dinner.
Ooh. And if you put the fish and the risotto in one bite, it's kind of a nice mixture of all textures and tastes.
Also, what you're tasting is he actually put a salad on top of this. It's pea shoots and lemon juice and olive oil, salt, pepper, and shavings of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. So you've got
got
that
it
fresh
all.
green. He did it all. Chef did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautifully prepared, and I always enjoy that too.
Well, Jan, thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you so much for taking time out to come and taste with us.
Thank you. So a lot of the jobs I have to do are not this interesting or fun. So
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out
Yes,
to
I appreciate
come
it. I
to a
appreciate-
neighborhood restaurant.
I appreciate a homegrown restaurant, people who live in my district and employ 60 some people in our district, so it's got it all. It's one of the most fun places to come to. I enjoy stopping by here for a quick bite to eat, an appetizer, or a full dinner with my family. So it's really a great addition to the neighborhood.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman. Now, please enjoy.
Okay, thank you.